Hey everyone, today's YouTube video is all about how do you take control when everything inside of you is screeching away saying that you want to do X and yet you do Y, even though you really want to do X and you know you want to do X, but in the moment Y takes over and that becomes the predominant thing that drives you. So how do you take control of that situation? Well, the way I try to look at it is to know that everything I do is something I do. And that sounds like a really weird thing to say, but ultimately no one else is in control of me. I'm in control of me and the choices that I make. And although that's partly scary because I can't then blame life stresses or falling out with someone or not feeling so well or whatever it is that I want to blame, and I'll come on to that in a minute, where I've totally blamed something else this week. Rather than doing that, but instead having that aspect of I'm the one in control of my choices, that actually, although a bit scary, is utterly liberating, because having that baseline understanding with yourself is what gives you control, even though it feels really scary. And a quote that I read today that I put in my newsletter today, which kind of sums this up, I'm reading it off of here, is to do with accountability. And it is that when you accept responsibility for your life, know that it is you who will get you where you want to go, no one else. So I'm going to say that again. Accept responsibility for your life. Know that it is you who will get you where you want to go, no one else. And although on the surface that sounds a little bit like, that's a little bit intimidating and scary, it's not. It's the complete opposite, because being totally accountable for myself and my choices and my actions means that I have that control, and it's really liberating when you realise that. It's phenomenal and very empowering, because you have the control to steer yourself in whichever direction you choose. This reminds me of another quote that I have in my office, which is, I'm going to get it because that's how often I use it, which is this one. I love this quote. It is, you have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own and you know what you know, and you are the one who will decide where to go. That's from Dr. Seuss. That is, I love that quote. Although it sounds really scary that you're on your own, actually it's not really scary, because it means that you then do have complete control. So an example from me this week is, it's not a secret that I'm going through the menopause, have gone through the menopause actually, well out the other side, and one of the elements that I really struggle with still with that is my sleep. I sleep dreadfully. I wake every couple of hours, and it's not brilliant. So I'm, as part of taking control of that situation, I am I've been seeing my GP, and I'm now at a private menopause clinic where I'm trying to get a bit of help. And the doctor that I see there has started me on magnesium supplements, because magnesium is meant to, being deficient in magnesium is meant to affect your sleep. It affects many other things, but it also affects your sleep. So I'm now taking a magnesium supplement, and last night, a couple of nights ago, I was flicking through, just reading on my iPad about magnesium, and I learnt that one of the sources of magnesium is nuts, in particular almonds. And there was that, what I call my mind monkeys, that part of me that really wants to just eat that I have to keep control of and understand and talk to and explain why as an adult I can't eat whatever I want whenever I want it, otherwise I won't stay slim. There is that part of me that is still there that wants to do that, and that part of me is constantly searching for excuses to enable me to eat whatever I want whenever I want it. And so when I read this, it was 10 o'clock at night. I really should have been off my iPad. I should not have been on any blue light at that time, but hey, I was. And I read this, and the first thing that sprung into my mind was, wow, that's blooming brilliant. That means I can have nuts, and I know nuts are really calorific. I have my Fitness Pal, and I've been using it as another way of being accountable to log absolutely everything that I eat and drink, even the little slices of cheese that I sometimes take off of the chopping board when my daughter's made a toasty. I log everything to make me accountable. So I know, having logged last week when I was up in town and I didn't have time for lunch, I had logged that a bag of M&S nuts and raisins was 700 calories. I ate the whole bag. And yeah, so I know that they're calorific, but there is this part of my mind that goes, yeah, but they're full of omega-3s and healthy healthy fats, and they're really good for you, and it's not a donut. It's not a Krispy Kreme donut, as I was talking with a friend of mine this morning about, or in the past what I would have gone for was bags of Frutella or chocolate, or just very carby things. It's not that. It's healthy. It's healthy. It's healthy. So my little mind monkeys at 10 o'clock at night are going, woohoo! Well, we know it's healthy, and here's your reason, Sonia, as to why you need to eat the nuts. I like eating nuts because they also have carbohydrates in, and so they release that feel-good hormone in me that I still crave and I still have to acknowledge and I still have to deal with. So down iPad, downstairs, and I take a handful, and by a handful I mean a big handful of almonds, and go back upstairs, munching away, feeling absolutely delighted with myself that I'm increasing my magnesium intake, and this is going to really help me sleep tonight. Well, it didn't. I didn't sleep any better that night, and the next night, in fact it was this morning, I was chatting with my friend about this, and I said to her that what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and measure, because when they say a handful of nuts is good for you, what they actually mean is that is good for you, don't they? And I'd done that of almonds, so I went and measured out that much of almonds and weighed it all out, and again using my Fitness Pal. If you don't have it, get it, it's really good. I worked out that my big handful of nuts was 320 calories that I'd had at 10 o'clock last night, or the night before, whenever it was. So what this has done, with going back to accountability again, is it's made me accountable. I have measured it out, I have looked at what I did, I've understood what I did, I've had to think about what it is that's going on for me that made me want to do that night, and I've had a lot of stressful things going on in my life lately, and I think I just wanted to not have to think about them, quite frankly, and just numb them down a bit with something really nice that released a bit of carbs that made me feel better. And so what I've done instead is I've got rid of any nuts that are in the house. I now know exactly how much a handful is, so I can't fool myself anymore. And just knowing that fact, like I knew that I wouldn't have a great big bag of M&S nuts and seeds anymore, that's enough to stop me and make me choose something else, and therefore I'm being accountable. I also need to be accountable for looking at what else I need to do to deal with the stress that's going on in my life at the moment, and that's something else I'll have to be accountable for doing. But no one else can do it, only I can do it. That's my message of the week. Bye.